Maybe you've been on a first date that completely bombs, right? We all been on one of those or more of those before, but this one is next level. I saw it on KCTV5 over the weekend, and it's only become more viral since then. I don't know how KCTV got on this story out of Atlanta, but I was laughing and thinking about it all weekend, so I wanted to share it with you here because maybe you're getting going on a Monday. You're in the car, 10 and 2. You know, you're punching up 95.7 FM, and you're like, gosh, I had the worst first date. Well, just know it could be worse. You could have been this poor sucker in Atlanta. So what happened? Well, this dude, he invites a woman out for drinks, and she took it to the next level. Not in a good way. She chose to order 48 oysters. 48 oysters. Slurped them all down, right? Because that's what you do with oysters. It gets slurpy. And then she posted on TikTok complaining about how the dude walked out on her and just bailed on the date. Here's the report.
He said he asked her out on a first date just for drinks, but what she ended up slurping were oysters. Slurping and slurping, 4 platters, totaling 48 oysters. Her date wasn't the only one. And then after all those oysters at Fontaine's Oyster House in Atlanta, she gobbled down a crab cakes and potatoes entree. But at some point, the date deserted, and she ended up paying the almost $185 bill. Most online commenters were unsympathetic. If you eat 48 oysters in a day, you are a walrus.
Oh, my. That is so good.
How many times did that lady say slurping and gobbling, whatever other words she was?
Well, in fairness, it was part of a whole TV package, and for some reason, I tried to record it to play it on the air, but the slurping noise from her TikTok was not recording into our system.
Oh.
So I just had the dry audio. But this lady's eating 48 oysters, and she's posting it to TikTok, and she's slurping as she's eating the oysters. It's like, what are you doing? Just drop the thing in there. Drop it in your mouth. What's the big deal? All right, that came out wrong. You know what I mean, though. You get what I'm going for here. All right, just relax. So anyway, she goes viral because she's sharing all this on TikTok. She's on this date. This guy says, let's go have some drinks. And she ends up ordering 48 oysters. And then some crab cakes just to polish the whole thing off, I guess, which is unbelievable. And I'm looking at this story, and I'm thinking, good for him. I was so proud of this guy for just walking right off this first date and saying, no, I invited you out for a couple of drinks. Now, if it's going well and you want to do an appetizer, fine. But you don't get to go on a first date because, I haven't dated in this dating app world. Thank goodness. Kate and I have been together since college, so 15 years now. And never had to download a dating app in my life, thank goodness. But I know from friends and family who have, especially on the guy side, you go on these dates through these apps, and you don't know who's just trying to soak you for a free meal. And if I go out, and if I invite you to go get a couple of drinks, and you start ripping off 48 oysters, we're going to have a problem. And I don't know if I'd walk out on you, but you know what? I can't blame the guy one bit because here's the other part of the story. The next part of the story is that she texted him saying walking out on a date is crazy. And he texted her back saying, I invited you out for drinks, not for 48 oysters. And then he offered to Venmo her for the drinks. So, you know what? To me, that was very nice of him.
Such a nice man.
That's plenty. I don't know what more you want out of the guy. I mean, he offered to pay for the drinks, which is what he invited you out for. And if you want to get yourself half a hundo oysters, well, that's on you. I don't have any sympathy for this lady. The oysters, you buy them yourself.
Splitting a cheaper appetizer, maybe,
Maybe.
But,
if the night
oysters, come on.
Here's how it goes. You have one drink. If everyone's doing well, you have a second drink. If after 2 drinks you're having a good time, it's an enjoyable date, and you want to get something to eat, to put something in your belly, and you're both on the same page, fine. Go ahead, get an appetizer, right?
Sure.
But imagine she shows up, and then all of a sudden, we'll get a dozen oysters. Those were so good. Let's get a dozen more. Oh, let's get a third. How about a fourth dozen? And then some crab cakes to polish it off, John. Goodness gracious.
Oh, I'd been out there. Hey, I got your drink here, so if you want something to eat, I'll be over at the pinball. Over the boxer machine or whatever.
Oh, my goodness. It reminded me of last election year on election night. Sly James and I were doing the thing on KCTV5.
Yeah.
And so we do the 6 o'clock news, the former mayor here in town. We both are political analysts for him on KCTV5. We do the 6 o'clock news. We're off until the 10 o'clock news, and we can watch the election results and everything else. So, they got pizza there at KCTV5, but Sly's like, I want to go down to the Oyster House there on the plaza. You want to come? And I'm hemming and I'm hawing, and I'm like, you know what? I'm in a good mood. I think it's going to be a good night for Republicans. Of course, it wasn't, but, I'm got a little pep in my step. Sure, Sly, I'll go down and get some oysters with you on the plaza. We get down there. We get some oysters. Oh, man, forgot my wallet. The old forgot the wallet trick. Jeez, Pete, you mind? What am I going to say? No? Sure, Sly, I got the oysters. Now, to his credit, his wife did Venmo me half the cost of the oysters. So he's a man of his word. He didn't stiff me on the oysters. But for a second there, I was nervous that the former mayor of Kansas City was going to stiff me on a couple dozen oysters. Thankfully, that didn't happen. He paid up. So no hard feelings there. But when I saw this story, I'm like, gosh, that reminds me of Sly and my oyster story.